Hello, beautiful people. Today we're going to talk about how to advance your career without a degree. In the past, you used to be able to tell who had a degree and who hadn't. And that is changing. And I think it's a really good thing because it allows for people who don't have the privilege of having a degree to be able to have more opportunities. And to me, that is a very good thing. Some of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with don't have degrees. Some of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with do have degrees. But the people who don't have degrees, what I've noticed with them, that their upbringing, their life circumstances, their access to money to be able to pay for a degree didn't stop them. And I'd like that not to stop you too. Let's talk about that. The other thing we're going to talk about is a degree is just one way of gaining knowledge. There are many ways of gaining knowledge. Let's explore how to establish your expertise and your contribution without having a degree. At the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to position yourself as an expert in your field without having a degree, and you'll have clear steps to increase your credibility, to gain recognition, to contribute value, and to accelerate your career. So let's reframe the importance of a degree. A degree is a great way to learn, but it's not the only way. What a degree actually does is establishes a standard for a particular area of human practice, human mastery, human expertise, or a profession. It helps people build a network, and it also helps them have the confidence that they know what there is to be known out there and that they are recognized as someone who understands that. But you can create this understanding and confidence on your own. One of the ways to do this is to begin to position yourself as an expert, fast in a particular area that you love. I think the most important thing for people who have degrees and for people who don't have degrees is to get clear on what it is that they are naturally brilliant at, and to do that pretty fast. What you can do is you can work with people who have degrees in particular areas, and you can begin to identify what you're bringing to the table. So you might be working with a bunch of engineers, and you may not have an engineering degree, but you may love the field. I worked with this absolutely amazing guy at one point who worked with a whole bunch of engineers. We were working together, and his ability to be able to manufacture component parts for engineering innovations was just off the charts. It's something he'd grown up doing, something he absolutely loved doing. He didn't have a degree in it. He didn't have a degree in mechanical engineering, but he did have one of life's degrees in how to actually be able to design and custom manufacture small batch parts for scientific experiments that the engineers and the scientists were doing. And he built out a reputation for himself and a recognition for himself around the value that he could bring in that. So one of the things to do is to really understand what you're unusually great at, because everybody is unusually great at something, and see where that adds value to the work that you're doing around you. And why that's incredibly valuable is it because it positions you to be able to make a contribution that is valued by the people around you and is not the same as a contribution they're making, because they've all gone and done pretty much the same degree. You're the one who's slightly unique in here, and you can add a lot of value based on that. There's a secret weapon that you can use here that I found to be very valuable. Now I've got a couple of degrees, but I found it to be very valuable when I'm breaking into a new profession or I want to be able to experiment in a new area. And I've made shifts over my career from geology to geotechnical engineering to information technology to leadership development. When you're making those shifts, they're risky and you're taking a bit of a chance. And one of the ways to really position yourself once you come into a company is to be able to make offers to other people around informal ways that you can add value for them. And one of those is brown bag lunches or lunch and learns. So I've gone into companies where I've had a unique focus on customer service, and I'll work with an IT group and I'll have brown bag lunches for them, talking about how we can better serve our customers, how we measure it, how we deliver on it, how we innovate around it, how we can add value by what it is that we're looking to do in terms of that as being an enhancement to our technical capabilities. So brown bag lunches are your friends. They're an offer that you're making. Most people struggle with interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary learning. So part of the downside of a degree is that we get sort of stuck on particular path or on particular railroad, so to speak, and we stay within our swim lanes. And when we do that, we miss out on the opportunity for interdisciplinary interaction and learning. Some of the most highly recognized and successful innovators in the world acknowledge that interdisciplinary learning is where a lot of the opportunity happens. So when you have multiple disciplines operating in an organization, they struggle to be able to work together and communicate with each other. You, as a somewhat unique person, can actually be the bridge to make that happen. So remember that if you're bringing something and you're bringing a different and unique perspective, and you're choosing to have conversations around that with other people, then what you're doing is you're bringing that ability to be able to weave together different interpretations, different stories, different learnings that will precipitate innovation over time. So your strategic weapon in here is educating other people, however it is that you choose to do that. I found that lunch and learns and brown bag lunches are the simplest, most humble, most generous contribution that you can make inside your company. As you get yourself ready to be able to run some of these sessions, make sure that you understand what is referred to as the canon. So who are the leading thinkers in the area that you're interested in? Say it's mechanical engineering, or say it's customer service, or say it's technology support. Whatever area it is, make sure you understand who are the people who the discipline is kind of built on top of their thinking, in other words, the canon, and find out what those books are and make sure that you're aware of them. You don't have to have read them all, but make sure that you're aware of them and you kind of know what the content of them is. The other thing you can do is you can watch YouTube videos exactly as you're doing here. Find out who are the most disciplined thinkers in the space who can really help you understand the standard practices that are in existence today. And then look at some of the innovators. Look at some of the people who are kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, and you can educate yourself around that. One of the ways that you could add a lot of value for people is you could actually do all of that homework and research and then step people through what it is that you've done. That's the most simple thing you can do. It's you reviewing things and then bringing your learning to a group of people who want to have a conversation around it and who want to learn through that conversation. If you run these sessions well over time, people start seeing you as the go-to person for that particular topic, and you begin to build a reputation for yourself as someone who has something significant to contribute. What you can also do is you can leverage your network and your visibility. So once you get known for knowing something, or known for contributing something, or being the subject matter expert on something, or being a significant contributor in some area, you can now begin to identify other people who are within your network, or other people who are in universities or other companies who are willing to come and have conversations with you. You can either have those conversations in the front of the room at your lunch and learns or your brown bag lunches, or you can have those conversations on video, or you can have those conversations on a Zoom call, and you can bring those conversations and that learning to the people in your organization who are interested. So the best way to do these is by invitation, because if you're good, the word will get out and more people will come, and you want to make it as much of an open thing as you possibly can. People are only showing up because they're interested, because they want to contribute, because they're excited about the topic. You can build a strong professional identity without a degree. Degrees help you build structure because they help you build a network, both of people who are already recognized in the field and people who are just joining the field and who are looking to make a name for themselves in the field. You can build that for yourself through joining networks and through building community. One of the most effective ways I've seen to do this is to join an association that is associated with the area that you're interested in. So there's pretty much an association for every professional area. Every area that there are degrees in, there is a corresponding association. Go find that out for what it is that you love and that you're interested in, and join, and then contribute there and figure out who the players are, what conversations are going on, what people are learning, what people are reading, and use it as an opportunity to be able to position yourself as someone who can add value and contribute to that community. Over time, what happens is, if you're consistent about these practices, and they might sound a little bit overwhelming in the very beginning, but once you get going with them, what you'll find out is it's like a drip feed. You're doing this over a 5-year period. It took most people 4, 5, sometimes 6 or 7 years to get their degrees. And so what you're doing is you're doing small pieces of contribution, small pieces of work, but you're mapping out the arc of time over which you're going to continue to do that. As you do that, it's like a savings account. You're building up credibility and reputation over time. You're taking it off in small bites that you know that you can actually accomplish. I think it was Bill Gates who very usefully said that people massively overestimate what they can do in 3 weeks and massively underestimate what they can do in 3 years. Over a 3, 4, 5-year period, you can accomplish a lot through this drip feed system where you're making small contributions and you're doing small amounts of learning over a long period of time. It'll make it less overwhelming and it'll make you appreciate the value that you're bringing over a period of time, and you'll get recognized and known for it. The other thing that you can do is you can begin to think for yourself how this is going to impact your career. One of the ways to do that is to use my promotion readiness assessment. There's a link down below, www.getpromotedassessment.com, and that will allow you to be able to start thinking about, if I do this and I get the equivalent of a degree for myself without having one, but based on my self-building identity and recognition and contribution in an area that I love, then how is that going to impact my career over time? It's important to give yourself a goal, an opportunity, a realization of the value it's going to bring for your life before you embark on this, because it is a fair amount of work. It is the equivalent of doing that work in real time without having a degree, and it can also help you position yourself sometimes even more strongly than if you had one. I wish you the best of luck with it, and congratulations for embarking on this.